What up, YouTube? This is Steven, and welcome back. Alright, in this video, I want to discuss colorism and some people's opinions about colorism. Them feeling that colorism is basically an ugly, dark-skinned woman's argument. Right? And before I really get into this, I will say that YouTuber Chrissy, she did a video about this, and it's a really good video about this. Actually, she comes with some receipts too, and basically just goes down a list of attractive dark-skinned women in the industry who have dealt with colorism issues. You know. But yeah, I just want to put the question out there, and so let's just give my opinion on that and give my commentary on that. So, long story short, do I personally think that colorism is an ugly girl's argument? Long story short, no. Of course, there's going to be quote unquote some unattractive women up in the mix of colorism arguments, on both sides of the issue actually, because there's some ugly light-skinned chicks in the mix who be clinging on to the colorism. Just like, there's probably some, ugly, dark-skinned women feeling like, oh, colorism is the reason I'm not where I'm at, with a relationship or whatever. But I will say that, colorism is much more than just, relationships, though. It runs much deeper than that, And I know that's kind of like where we go to it, when, at least when we talk about it within the community, especially because a lot of times the people who are talking about it are black women, light skin and dark skin black women talking about this, And oftentimes it goes with like the beauty aspect of colorism, where it's like, oh, this light skinned woman is seen as more beautiful just because she's lighter skinned. And then the beauty aspect leads perhaps into the relationship aspect too, right? But colorism is much more than just the beauty and relationship aspect of it. You know, it does factor into employment. You know, encounters with the law, the legal system, right? And even to an extent, probably like, the educational system, Um, so colorism goes much deeper than just the relationship aspect. And to an extent, it's even sort of like insulting in a way to just put it that way, because it's like, oh, it's kind of like implying that kind of like basically what's most important to these women is like, getting into a relationship, you know which I'm sure that's like a part of what's important to them, because I'm sure they want like, a family and kids, of course, but there's other aspects of their lives that they deal with that are important to them, of course. You know but another thing that I want to sort of speak about a little bit is, the ugly girl or the ugly dark skinned girl colorism argument being used as like a low key way to silence dark skinned women who speak out about colorism, who want to, expose things, want to call things out, want to, just really get some like justice, basically, to, for a lack of a better word, I guess, like some justice. But when you throw this out like, oh, it's an ugly girl's argument, then it's like, for them, or at least some of them, they may it's sort of used again as a silencing tactic, and some of them may, fall into the trap of that, because they don't want to be viewed as like, oh, I don't want people to think I'm like, I feel ugly, I think of myself as ugly. Yeah, I don't want people to think that I can't, get someone to, um, you know, have a relationship with me, you know. um, as well, this goes kind of like hand in hand with the, oh, you're bitter, you're angry, you're jealous. It's kind of like a song at this point, honestly. I think some rappers probably going to put that into like a song or something at one point or another, because some of these folks be singing the same song again and again, right? And but now they got a new some new lyrics to add to this song, right? It's like, oh, ugly girl arguments, right? um, but again, it's not like, well, ultimately, attractive women, the attractive dark skinned women have spoken out about colorism, And in the video that I watched about Christy, she did this video a while ago, actually. But yeah, she had brought the receipts about that, talk about Kelly Rowland's experiences and her commentary on colorism, Lupita's, Gabrielle Union's, um, Foxy Brown, Tika Sumpter, and a few others as well, And, those women are considered, attractive um, by, people in and outside of the black community. And as well, I think it's sort of like really kind of like a low move, like kind of like kind of low to do something to even throw that out there, right? Because it's kind of like if we were talking about racism and a white person said, "Oh, the reason that you're not successful is because you just don't try as hard, right? You just don't work as hard. You just didn't apply yourself. You're just not as smart. That's all." It's like, kind of like, again, putting it on you. It's putting it on you as if you are the issue. And of course, thinking about it from an individual perspective, of course, but you have to think about the system that we're in too, right? Because people are going to make the argument, well, we all have access to the same opportunities, which is true. We more or less do. But let's be real. Are like regular folks like you and me going to be like eligible to be the president of the United States? Technically, I'm sure that we all meet the minimum requirements, the minimum requirements to be president. But is it likely? Let's be real. Is it likely that we're going to be president? Just off of like, our social standing, No, it's not. Let's be real. No, it's not. All right. But, to bring it back to topic, colorism against dark-skinned women. I think ultimately the beauty standard, and let's just stick with the black community, right? The beauty standard in the black community is stacked against dark-skinned women. Let's be honest. It is. Because we sort of more or less kind of like piggyback off of like, the international beauty standard, aka white beauty standard, right? We sort of piggyback off of that. We don't do it exactly like they do it. We've kind of put a little bit of a remix to it, But, it's close enough, right? It's close enough. Kind of like a white-ish looking woman, She has the features that, as far as like the ideal, the beauty standard in the black community at least. Kind of like, she kind of like has a mixture of both the black features that are fetishized and the white features that are seen as like, being beautiful for women, like, a certain type of hair texture, a certain facial features, right? But also, for the black features, she has like the body, like that's when the black features come into play, when the body, but for the face, it seems like more so like, quote unquote, keen features, right? I've heard that used as a phrase. Um, you know, And of course, I know this doesn't apply to every single person in the Black community, and I know that we have, our own individual idea of what beauty is. I understand that. All right. So shut up. But we do have to acknowledge that this is at play. This is at play. It's not like this is just like, oh, whatever. And then oftentimes I hear like, oh, basic other arguments about this is like, basically just like, oh, just ignore it. Like, oh, your beauty is what you make of it. Like basically saying that, oh, either to ignore it or just to like say like you shouldn't pay attention to it, or like your beauty is like basically don't care. Like, just it's not really a big issue. Like, love yourself. It's like, get your self-esteem from yourself. All that sort of stuff. And it's like, that sounds good in theory, but in actuality, it's like, did you get your self-esteem purely from yourself? Let's be honest. Like, did any of us get our self-esteem purely from ourselves? No, we probably got it partially from like the media, partially from people in our day-to-day lives, um, you know, and also, partially from ourselves as well. But it's more aspects to it than just ourselves, though, right? Especially when you are part of a group that is being uplifted in the media and has like a lot of media exposure, like the light-skinned women. Like every time you see them, you see them being portrayed more or less positively. You don't see them being portrayed as like the bougie, stuck-up, light-skinned chick. You know, she's being portrayed as like, oh, the beautiful one, the smart one, the glamorous one. But when it comes to the dark-skinned women, while they are sometimes, portrayed as, the beautiful, smart, glamorous ones, of course, oftentimes, they get like the ratchet one, the ghetto one, the angry one, the violent one, like, again, like kind of like when you want to mock a dark skin or mock a black woman, you kind of like imitate a dark skinned black woman. Like a lot of times that's kind of like what it is, right? Like, the dudes who kind of like dress up as women for comedy, they tend to dress up again as dark skinned women, right? And that's something that Chrissy has spoken on as well. They don't, they. Like, when's the last time you seen like a person in the mainstream dress up as like a ratchet light skinned chick? As if, the ratchet light skinned chicks don't exist, right? You know, Cardi B, come on. Trina, Amber Rose, But again, nah, they don't do that. But yeah, I guess, I guess I more or less, I feel like I more or less said what I had to say. I probably shouldn't have dragged this video out longer than I need to. I just bring this video to a close, so thanks a lot for watching, and I kind of just want to get you guys' opinion on this, because I think black men, especially dark-skinned black men, sort of use this as an argument or a shaming tactic. And I think some light-skinned women probably do it as well, where it's like, oh, basically, this is just what ugly women say, But we know it's much more than that, and it goes much deeper than that, right? So, yeah. Hopefully, something can come. Something good can come and come into this situation that we have. So, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to comment. Adios and goodbye for now.